What does a scientist from the 1600s know about saving your marriage that you don't? That's what we're going to talk about in this video. And the scientist that we're talking about here is Sir Isaac Newton. All the way back from 1600, gave us lots of incredible things, but there was one law in particular that he gave us that relates back to you and your marriage. And that was that objects at rest stay at rest until an external force pushes it, and an object in motion stay in motion until an external force pushes or pulls against it. Now, how does that relate back to your marriage? Well, let's start with the first part. Objects in motion, or objects at rest, stay at rest. Well, this was probably you before she gave you that line, I'm not in love with you, it's done, I want a divorce. You were pretty much at rest in your marriage, in your relationship. It came to a standstill. And now her saying those words was that external force that pushed you into motion. Right? All well and good. You probably already knew that. You didn't need to watch this video to tell you that. But let's talk about the second half of that. Objects in motion stay in motion in a straight line until an external force pushes or pulls against it. That's your wife, right? She is on a straight line path to divorce, and she's going to stay in that motion, right? That straight line, that beeline to divorce until an object pulls or pushes it. And think about this logically. If you see a boulder rolling down the street, it's going to require something to stop it. And if you want it back, you have to push back against it, right? Very simple. We all know this. Kids understand this. But think about your marriage. Right now, the momentum, that object is going straight towards divorce. It's going to take something of equal force to one, stop it. In our program, we call that creating a pattern interrupt to halt that momentum. And then you, as the leader, you as the person saving this, is now creating enough force to push it and push it and push it until it starts going towards reconciliation. The whole marriage saving game here is about breaking the momentum that's leading to divorce and then putting enough energy back into the marriage by doing the right thing to get it going towards reconciliation. Looking divorce this way, reconciliate this way. You have to interrupt the pattern and then move it back towards reconciliation. That's the whole name of the game. And when you're thinking about how I do this, how when she's done, you do it first. You have to break that momentum that has her saying, I'm done, I want out, this isn't working, I want a divorce, papers are filed, whatever. You gotta break that pattern. And there are very specific things to do there. Most of that is showing her a abrupt change in you, right? By showing an abrupt change of you, that's the best way. Now, that can also end up flooding her and creates a whole bunch of issues you don't do in the right way. But at a glance, it's an abrupt here, right? Some people also will use marriage counseling as a pattern interrupt. It's a bad one because once you get there, it usually makes things worse. But her saying, okay, I'll wait and see what happens through that. That's another pattern interrupt, right? That can break the momentum. But that's only start one. Part two is now you have to build up the energy to push her back towards reconciliation. Get that momentum going the opposite direction, because if you get the momentum, the law then kicks back in. It will go on a straight line back towards reconciliation once the marriage is going that route. You just have to make sure not to create something that back the other direction, which ends up being big reactions, blow up, losing your shit, not following through, not being consistent. You can create a pattern interrupt and send her back the other way. So once you get there and you remain consistent, there's nothing stopping the marriage from rebuilding and restoring itself, right? So when you understand what's happening on, let's call it energetic level through this process, it makes more sense. You're like, okay, she's going this way. The first thing I need to do is a pattern interrupt. Most clients that come to me are really just looking for pattern interrupt. How do I stop her from moving this way? right? And then what they get is not just stopping, but also going, sending them back the other way. And that's what you have to look at. Think about step one, how I create the pattern interrupt. How do I show her that to reconsider this idea, to pause? Really, we're talking about creating a pause from moving forward, break that momentum, right? Then the next step, once you get to that, then it's okay, how do I move the momentum this way to where it picks up steam and reconciliation is the natural byproduct. All right. So think about that, journal about it, write some ideas. If you need some specific support, there's going to be linked below to our Marriage Recovery Center, which is going to show you all the skills, all the tools, everything you need to go create that pattern interrupt. Why I did it? And then from there, it's taking next steps. All right. That's what I have for you in this video. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out, drop a comment below, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.